So today, as I said, is the culmination of a week of activities celebrating 50 years of Cross Keys High School. And we are very proud of that 50 years. We have distinguished guests among us, and they will be introduced in short order. So I'll just say that I did not attend Cross Keys High School, but I was schooled at Cross Keys High School. For those of you who do not know, I am Mrs. Walter's niece, and so I grew up on the premises of Cross Keys High School. So I had more fun than all of y'all. I spent 13 years there. I'm sure there's nobody else in this room apart from mommy and daddy who spent 13 years at Cross Keys. Oh, and the teachers, right?
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we just give you all the glory and all the thanks that we can be here gathered together tonight to celebrate, to remember, to be inspired, to go forward. Lord, you know the hard work that has been poured into this event. You know the love that has been poured into this event. And Lord, we just ask that you be present with us during this night. We pray that the evening will go smoothly, and Lord, that we will be inspired to take action, to go forward, to help. We have the memories, and Lord, the future is, the future, and we can be part of the future. Many of us have been part of the past, and we can be part of the future. So Lord, just pray that everything goes smoothly tonight, and we thank you in advance for everything that you will do tonight through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
I don't know if you've paid attention to the welcome message in your program, but Dr. Grace Virtue, who is the chair of the Cross Keys High School Alumni Association, has welcomed you tonight. So, and I'm just going to read a little bit from, I know you have your programs, but just to remind you that as we reflect on this legacy, we're also mindful of the responsibility it places on us. The future of this institution and of the students it serves depends on our continued commitment to invest, support, and lead with purpose. It is in this spirit that we advance initiatives such as our 50 for 50 Legacy Scholarship Program, aimed at expanding opportunity and strengthening pathways.
Friends and fellow members, thank you for your trust you placed in me as the president of the association. Together, we face many challenges to get to where we are today. But as we celebrate this milestone to strengthen our community, let the spirit continue to live so that we can move forward with purpose and unity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply grateful for your support. On behalf of the entire sector, I thank you for standing with us. I also want to thank my entire executive body, for the awesome work and dedication to get us to where we are today. I am truly grateful for the work you've done, Grace, and the team to get us here today. I also want to, as we wrap up the entire week of activity, I am grateful that we can show the impact that this will cause. From the class of 1979 to 2026, we come together, shared memories, build relationship to strengthen the bond that connects us. Let us continue to build our school, build our community, and leave a legacy that will positively impact generations to come. I thank you for coming. I'm looking forward to do this many years to come. I hope and pray that everyone gets home safely. Thank you. Let's have a good night.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Green. We have a representative from the Ministry of Education, Region 5, to bring greetings.
50 years for any institution or any individual is certainly no easy feat. And so it gives me pleasure on behalf of our Director of Regional Education Services, Mrs. Susan Nelson Smith, who is on vacation leave and has asked me to represent, to bring greetings and to congratulate you on 50 years of service to Jamaica's education system. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Cross Keys High School belongs, if you do not know it as yet, to what is known, should I say worldwide at this point, and recently confirmed by the Jamaica Observer, the region of champions. And I see some of my principals here. They themselves are champions, because for a school that is nestled neatly in the rural area of Manchester, you have managed to make an impact. And the caliber of persons seated in this room this evening and seated at the head table is representative of the kind of impact that you have made. The truth is, you know, they say, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with someone else. Go together. And Cross Keys could not have made it to 50 years without indelible partnerships. And I want to say a big congratulations to the Alumni Association for their support over the years in this matter. Please give them a round of applause. The ministry is currently engaging in transforming education for national development, and partnership and support of schools at all levels in all forms is very critical to realizing a transformed education system. I am certain that this evening, as you network, you enjoy the sumptuous meal, and you catch up on memories, you will also have conversations that focus on how you can all together in this room carry the partnership forward with Cross Keys for another 50 years. And so I hope our principal will be getting a nice check, right, sir? I think I hear rumors swirling, because I was sitting at the back there, about 10 million, that if all you can give is your time to a school, if all you can do is to mentor a child, if all you can do is to send school supplies to support or reach out to find out about the welfare and the well-being of our staff at our schools and our administration and our students, that is sometimes enough for us to invest in the future. All of us in this room are beneficiaries of a strong education system. I don't think you understand why they take our teachers. It's not that just the teachers run because they want more money. Other countries want to take our teachers because our teachers are good and they do well. And all of us have benefited in some way, shape, or form from a good teacher. and in a good school. And Cross Keys continues to boast a history of being a good school in a good region, in a good country. And so I encourage you, yes, you may, you may applaud. So I encourage you as I close to continue the partnership, continue the support, remember the good old days, and try to help other people to have good old days at Cross Keys as well. Thank you so very much on behalf of the Region of Champions. Congratulations once more.
I want you to run, come up here and give us a very quick memory of your time at Cross Keys. Come, Mr. Stanley, you're a teacher, so you're ready to talk anytime. Mr. Van Rick, pretty, line up yourself. You're next. I want you to come and talk for 1 minute about your time at Cross Keys.
I was the first principal of Class School for 14 years, starting in 1976, ending in 1990, when I went on to another school in another parish, principal. First of all, I knew that the children that would come to me would be those children that some people, Ministry of Education, decided were not the top level children that would go into a grammar school. But I decided that those were coming to me. I had a vision of them doing different well, as, as if they were going to the grammar school, or most children were going to the grammar school.
We wanted a school that would give children in rural communities a real chance. I was one among a group of first person to teach at the school. What I want to say, it was exciting. And I think most of the teachers, we were young enough with the energy to do things. And I think we went for it. You know, we had to do so much. Recall the students coming from the four peer schools, and then in classes, we had to identify rooms, that is the classrooms for the students and the teachers, room for the guidance counselor, and so on. So it was quite a job, it was exciting. I feel some of the teachers, for example, finished with lately that hadn't started.
Hospice was 5 years when I get there, but the first big challenge I had was getting to school on time. I was on the morning shift, 7:30. I lived about 30 miles from there, so I had to be there early. If not, my name would be in Caleb's black and white book. The other challenge was preparing myself, making sure I was ready to meet the students each day. Um, I had brilliant students, they asked questions, so I had to like 5 steps ahead of them. Built on sacrifice, commitment, and belief, Prox Kings High became more than a school. It became a cornerstone of community. It breathed life into the village and became a symbol of hope for a new generation of children from Woodlands, New Brunswick, to Resource in Marlindale. This school has given me a firm a foundation on which I could build. Reading, for example, and going to the library to escape and to find myself in a world of stories. What was important to me. And to this day, I consider myself an avid reader because of Prox and because of exposure to literature. But also a creative mind in terms of our worldviews and an impression of the world. Discipline. Because that's one thing that was in this institution. Our past principal, CB wants us. The Crosskeys High School is of great significance in this area. In that it's been able to accommodate students from all the primary schools around 5 or so. The students from earlier times have excelled, and this is a boost for the area. For 5 decades, Cross Keys High School has produced educators, professionals, leaders, and citizens committed to building a better Jamaica. It has produced a remarkable return on investment, contributing to a stable community with reduced poverty and lower crime rate. Come September, this school will celebrate 15 years of existence. So some of the key challenges facing institutions like Cross Keys High School have to do with the perception that still exists that this school is like ours and not as good as the other institutions. And I want that thought to perish because I believe we do a lot of work in comparison to the traditional high schools with the students that we receive. Think about the MP for South Manchester. Just attended the Cross Keys High School leaving ceremony. And there are a lot of challenges for rural schools, particularly in a vast in size but relatively low density population constituents like South Manchester. The first problem is that most of the schools have enrollments now that are a small percentage of their capacity, especially 20 primary and infant schools. Some of them have 250 kids, more than half of them have 100 kids. And it's hard to get the critical mass necessary to really concentrate all the resources and to give them all a range of extracurricular activities, etc. As a community, I think community need to pull all these resources to help the school advance. And one way I think we as the community or the community can do that is through mentorship. We're having attendance problem. And it is mainly because we are into an era whereby smart students are not because of economic spirit and not be able to live it out of it.
Like many institutions, Cross Keys faces challenges, but its story has never been defined by limitation. It's a story of hope, fortitude, and transformation. It continues in a more urgent and challenging context.
I think we need more math specialists. I have to confess, I was experiencing mixed emotions when the principal was celebrating the 44% pass rate in mathematics. Because I understand that they're coming from 8%, but at the same time, 44% is really unacceptable for a core subject right now.
As a parent, even from some of the students of Francis High School, it became clear to me that students needed two things. One, more career programs. Two, advanced resources. One, career programs. Students are used to traditional programs that include nursing, doctor, lawyer, and business, but we need to see more career programs involving engineering, science, technology, and other necessary programs that they can explore their desired passions. Two, advanced resources, not just updated textbook, but we need more lab equipment and other technological advancements so that it can help or aid in students' teaching and learning experience.
Now, since my tenure here in the school has changed significantly, I'll think about two changes that have impacted the school today. The first one is shift change. When I first came, the school was on shift, and obviously now we are 4 days. The second one is our curriculum activities. One was first look at extracurricular activities. We are now getting involved in more sporting activities and subject-based competition outside of the institution. We have also broadened the curriculum to ensure that we cater for the various needs of our students. One is that we have broadened our textbook area, and we have reached out to various stakeholders and have garnered various equipment to enhance that area, which have now seen our students participating more in skill areas and also related curriculum delivery. We have also included entrepreneurship as one of our subjects to ensure that our students are adequately prepared for the world of work, where they can also start and operate their own businesses.
I hope that school will continue. But I believe they can. They are now high school. And some of the subjects, I understand, right now, we get very concerned because our curriculum was not wide enough for improve. So,
I think that future is becoming poison. The spiritual protectors on change in a way that I mean, how you call it is.
50 years of impact, 50 years of resilience, 50 years of possibility.
It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce this gentleman to you. I'm going to give you the formal introduction first. Dr. Peter Glegg, Esquire, keynote speaker, is a general surgeon, listen carefully, a general surgeon and attorney at law, currently serving as the senior legal officer at the University Hospital of the West Indies. Have you ever heard of somebody who is more qualified for their job? He is a lecturer at the Norman Manley Law School. He actually taught my daughter there. And an adjunct lecturer at the University of Technology, Jamaica. He's also the public orator at the University of the West Indies. With a strong focus on medical, legal, and ethical issues, Dr. Glegg has developed particular expertise in emerging areas such as nuclear law. He is a respected voice in national and international forums where he has presented extensively on ethics, law, and medicine. Combining clinical practice, legal scholarship, and public engagement, his work contributes to critical national conversations on leadership, responsibility, and ethical practice.
Ceremony, thank you very much for the warm introduction. Members of the head table, teachers, alumni, students, visitors, specially invited guests, friends all, good evening. I come today with a warm heart and a sense of pride because I myself, I'm still a teacher and I've taught most of my life. I taught at Knox College for a while as well. And so I love teaching, I love education, and I think I'll teach as long as I have a voice. And I'm so proud and so happy to be a part of this gathering this evening to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Cross Keys High School. My family originates in Manchester, by the way, historically. The Gleggs founded the town of Belfield. And so in my heart, I'm a Manchester man. And I'm very happy to be here with you this evening. But with all the pride and the honor that I feel this evening, I got in some trouble on my way here. I was coming on the new toll road, and the road was so nice and smooth, I never felt the speed that my vehicle was going. And when I came around a corner, I saw a member of law enforcement stepped out and signaled me to pull over. Of course, he came up and he said to me, "Young man," so I looked around because I wasn't sure if he was speaking to me. He said, "You're doing 150 in 110. What do you have to say for yourself?" Well, luckily, I always travel around with my stethoscope on the passenger seat beside me. So I said, "Officer, as you can see, I'm a doctor. And my grandmother is a diabetic and I'm rushing to Mandeville to give her her insulin." The policeman said, "Doc, I tell you what, let me hurry up and write this ticket for you so you can get there on time." This gentleman was determined. So I said, "Come on, officer. No bother with it today, man." He said, "No, Doc, if you don't have a ticket, you don't stand a chance." Luckily, we had a long discussion and, being fellow civil servants, and I was going to help my grandmother. He allowed me to rush on to give her insulin, so I came without a ticket, and I thank the good men and women of law enforcement. I saw them around here today. Can we please applaud the men and women of law enforcement? When Dr. Virtue asked me almost a year ago to be the keynote speaker, I wondered how could I add to this most distinguished gathering, and I've been thinking about it for some time. Earlier this year, I went with a team to the United Nations headquarters in Vienna, Austria. As you know, my area of specialty of law is nuclear law, and that is a law that relates to nuclear energy. It's my dream one day to have a nuclear reactor in Jamaica so we can get cheap electricity. And as I sat in a room in Vienna, Austria, at the UN headquarters, I looked around. And in that room, I saw some of the brightest scientists from around this planet. I saw some of the biggest diplomats from around the world, people who I'd see on CNN. And it dawned on me to say, who is this little boy from a town in Jamaica that is not even on the map? Who is this little boy who knows what it is to be hungry? Not because I was on a diet, but because we had no food. Not because my doctor, but because we had no drinking water. Had to walk a mile to catch water just to have a shower. Who is this little boy who, when I grew up in my district and I told him I wanted to be a doctor, I grew up on the North Coast, they said, no man, you're an idiot. Get a job at the hotel as a bartender. I'm married to a white girl, I make she file for you. Because as far as the people I grew up around were concerned, that was the way out of poverty. Luckily for me, I've always had somebody who would always step in to help me throughout my life. And even now, people would always help me. My mom migrated to the States in the late 70s, early 80s. And she trained as a hospice care nurse. The US government, when someone is on their final few weeks of life, like usually your last 3 weeks of life, they'd send in the hospice nurse just to take care of you, to usher you in your transition across the river. And they sent her to the home of a very, very wealthy Jewish family whose name I can't call because you probably know the name. Very wealthy, even then. And the gentleman's mother had 3 weeks to live. 3 years later, my mother was still giving her hospice care. Because when she boiled down the pumpkin and the corn pork and crush out the potato and the yam and feed her, right? 3 years later, this old woman was still alive. No pasta, no mac and cheese, good Jamaican curry chicken and stew beef and corn pork. The gentleman in question, this Jewish gentleman, he lived in a house that was probably the size of this entire hotel. I would spend summer holidays there and never see him once. And after about my third summer at the house, my mother kept on insisting, you need to go talk to the gentleman. You need to talk to him. I was like, Mom, I don't want to talk to these guys. She said, you need to. And she insisted. I said, okay. So she made an appointment for me to see him because he had an office suite in his home. And the day when I was supposed to speak to him, it was like a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. And there was a big office and there was an outside waiting area. And his son was waiting to see him as well. And among the Jewish people, when the boy gets to age 16, they celebrate what is called a bar mitzvah, where they become a man. And his son was approaching his 16th birthday, and he also had an appointment to meet his father. And his appointment was right before mine. When he went in to speak with his father, he didn't close the door. So I could hear the entire conversation. And what his father shared with that boy that day changed the direction of my life. And I wanted to share it with all of you today as a secret, so outside this room, you can't tell anybody else. The first thing he did when the young man went in, he gave him a book. And I advise all of you to just type it in your phone, especially the students, but no matter what age you are, I want you to just put this book in your phone. And this book is called Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. Hands up those who've ever read that book. It's called Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins, also known as Tony Robbins. That book changed my life. And to this day, I read that book at least once a year. It's a book that teaches you how to literally tap into the power of your mind. Many human beings, you will spend your entire life and use only about 8 to 9% of the full potential of your brain. Guys like Albert Einstein only used about maybe 20%. What Tony Robbins taught is that you can tap into the power of your mind and achieve anything that you want to achieve. I spent 15 years in university. 15, that's 1-5. My first degree was in chemistry and zoology. Then I did my MBBS in medicine. Then I practiced surgery for 11 years. And then I went back to law school. I did my LLB with honors. And then I attended the Norman Manley Law School. A lot of people thought I was crazy. But the reality is what saved me was what I was taught. And there's another concept, a secret I want to share with you. And I want you to put this down, guys. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. NLP. What is neuro-linguistic programming? And you can apply this secret no matter what age you are, no matter what stage you are in life, no matter what level of health you have, to your relationships, to your business, to your practice. I promise you, if you apply this knowledge, there's nothing that you can dream of or think of that you cannot achieve. Let me just quickly say what NLP is. Neuro means your mind. Linguistic, which means the speech, the talk, and the programming. One of the problems with Jamaica is that we negatively program ourselves. I have a client in the States, very, very powerful man. He was a former vice president of Ford Motor Company, and he called me about 2 years ago and asked me to do something for him. And he said, you know, Peter, I want you to do this in Jamaica, and I want you to get that document for me signed, and I want you to do that. And I said, okay, no problem. And he started cursing till I thought that maybe this man was mad. I'm like, I got it. What's the problem? He said, no, Peter, I heard problem. And he said, that's what's wrong with you Jamaicans. You talk in the negative. And then it hit me. He asked me to do something, and what did I say? No problem. When you talk to the typical Jamaican on the street, you say, how you doing? What do they normally say? Not bad. Get it? What when you really should say, I'm doing excellent, I'm doing wonderful. We said not too bad. And when you think about it, even among us as Jamaicans, when I'm in the States among my friends, my well-to-do friends, and you see their little kid come and draw some scribbles with a crayon on a piece of paper, and it look like crab foot to me. When they get that, they're like, oh my God, this is wonderful, Tommy. Oh my, and they run to Walmart and they buy a frame and they frame it and they put it in the middle of their house, right? In Jamaica, a kid does that. What you do? Like foolishness. You see the programming that we have? Let me ask you another question. Did you ever notice that when you're in school, if you like the teacher, you tend to do well in that course? You ever notice that? And if you don't like the teacher, you tend not to do well. It's the same person, but guess what is different? The mindset. So what neuro-linguistic programming teaches you is how to program your mind for excellence, to achieve anything you want to do from the get-go. So for instance, when I decided I wanted to go to law school, everybody was like, you're having a midlife crisis, you're crazy, you don't have nothing to do with your time. I was mentoring some law students just this week, and they said, oh, I don't have enough time. I'm like, are you crazy? When I was in law school, I had 3 jobs. I was working as a surgeon at St. Anne's Bay Hospital, and I was a senior resident in surgery. So I was doing all the operations. My boss just stayed home, and I would call, and he'd say, okay, go ahead and do it. So I was a surgeon at St. Anne's Bay Hospital, and a little private practice hustle somewhere in Kingston, and as a resident advisor on Taylor Hall. 3 jobs, but doing law full time. So what I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what stage you are, you have an illness, You can cure yourself, you know. Many people don't know that. A lot of times, a scientific study was done that showed that persons who believed that they would do well, and it also showed that people who prayed and believed in God tend to do better than persons who didn't. I remember one weekend I operated on two ladies. They were of the same age. They had a condition called diverticular disease, and we did the same exact surgery back to back. So we operated on the two ladies, same age, same condition, same day. And the first lady that we operated on, within 4 days, she was out of hospital. The other lady, 3 weeks later, she go up like she getting better, then she go all the way down like she going go over the edge. And she back and forth, back and forth. And my boss said to me, eminent surgeon from Mandeville, Ian Titus, said to me, Glegg, find out what's wrong with the patient. When I had a meeting with her and her husband and her children, and I like to open the docket when I meet with patients, I said, what is wrong? The husband said, Doc, she thinks that she has cancer and you're not telling her. You know, Jamaica people have this thing that doctor don't tell you the truth. And I opened the docket and showed her. I'm sure they never even understand half the things I showed them. But just to say, hey, madam, you do not have cancer. You have diverticular disease. Did you know that lady went home within 24 hours? It's the power of the mind. The power of the mind. I give you one more quick example. One Friday we had a clinic and a gentleman came in, he had advanced cancer. When we looked at the x-ray, his lungs, liver, everything was riddled with cancer. I looked at my boss looked at me, and we knew where this was going. I said, what to do, boss? He said, give him morphine for 3 months, and we'll see him back in 6 months. But we knew that he wouldn't make it past the end of that month. 3 years later, I'm in the same clinic with my boss, and the gentleman walks in. I said, Doc, how you do? I just come to check up on you guys. So I'm like, John Brown? He said, yeah, man. I said, come here, man. How you do? He said, me good. So I said, you in a rush? What you doing here? He said, him come visit a friend who is sick. So I said, can I just call my boss and we have a look at you? He said, sure, Doc. So my boss came in and I showed, and he was in shock. Because we thought we were looking at. And my boss said, can you just humor us? We're going to send you to do an x-ray. He said, sure, Doc. And we sent for his docket. We sent him for the x-ray. When we looked at his lungs was clear. Liver, clear. I remember my boss was, some doctors are pure scientists and they're not into this religion thing and this thing. And I remember my boss looked into space for about 10 minutes. And then he wrote in the docket, and I never forget it. I've quoted it word for word. He said, this is the stuff that miracles are made of. This patient presented with advanced metastatic cancer, defaulted from care, and now returns 3 years later, free from disease. So, of course, I saw the private jet and the yacht and the Benz because I want to know which bush him boil to get that cure, right? So I called him into a side room and said, Papa, tell me what you take to get rid of this cancer. He said, on his way home, he said, when we saw him in the clinic the day, he knew he had a death sentence. And on his way home, he stopped. There was a tent service in Ocho beside the Jerk Center. And he went over there and the pastor said, somebody have cancer, come up for prayer. And he went up for prayer. And he says he's never been sick since. That's what neurolinguistic programming is. So I say to you, students, adults, the elderly, you must program in your mind every day that I am great, I will achieve greatness, I can do this, I will do this. All right? And anytime you wake up and a doubtful thought comes to your mind or a negative thought comes to your mind, you cast it behind you. Because I don't believe Satan is a red man with a pitchfork. I think Satan is doubt, it's fear, it's anger, it's procrastination. Cast it behind you, and I promise you, there is nothing that you cannot achieve. In fact, I'm considering going back to school again. Now, people always ask me, why was it that you decided to go back to law school, having a successful medical career, practicing as a surgeon for quite a few years, doing well and loved by your patients? And I tell them the story about the lobster. The lobster has a very hard shell. This shell protects the lobster from being attacked by predators. But here's the problem. As the lobster grows, the shell becomes uncomfortable because the shell will not grow with him. And so for the lobster to grow, there comes a time when he must cast off the shell so that he can grow and grow a new shell. But here's the problem. When you cast off the shell, you go through a period of vulnerability because you don't have this protection. But I say to you, as I said to the person, is that I got to a stage in my life when I became uncomfortable. And I want to encourage you all, no matter what age and stage in life you are, I want to encourage you to stay uncomfortable, to always be ready to cast off that protective shell and step into the unknown and go through that vulnerability to achieve the next step of your life, the next step of growth and development. You know, in biology, they teach you that one of the characteristics of living organism is growth and development. And I say to you, if you stop growing and developing, you are dead even though you're walking around. You have to continue to grow. You must remain uncomfortable in that shell. You must be willing to take that step. I see my friend here from law school council here. And when I went to Faculty of Law, many people didn't even know I was a doctor. And when I went to law school, I had to quit my full-time job. And I did 5 years of studying without working for 5 years, just hustling for the 5 years. And it was a very, very uncomfortable period for me. I was very vulnerable because for the first in my life, after many years, I was broke again. But you know what? My colleague, wealthy surgeon, was very successful, who drove this old car just to keep a low profile. Jamaica people have a saying, said, dog has sweat, but the hair cover it. Because I was sweating, but I didn't show it. But I knew that for me to take that next step, I had to cast off my shell. And once more, I had to become vulnerable. It was tough. And if I had to do it again, I would not. But I did it, and I finished. I just want to encourage all of you today that as you grow and as you develop, you must never forget where you're from. Never forget Cross Keys. And though you may live in the States, or you may live in London, or you're in Kingston, you got a big job now, you drive a Benz, and never forget the school you're from. And if it's even to send $100 to the school, if it's even to give the school $100 US or even $20, that will make a difference to a child who comes to school who has no lunch. That will make a difference to a child who has no pencil or no exercise book. When you go to Walmart, if you live in the States and you see something on sale, buy it and put it down. You know, when you're coming down, you bring it and leave it to the school. I tell people all the time that I remember about 2 years ago, some legal colleagues of mine, most of them are very prominent attorneys, you know, speak very nicely. I don't know why lawyers, when they go court counsel, they have this accent. You ever notice when lawyers in front of the judge, they speak, my lord, I come and represent my client today, my lady. So, you know, and we're all on this coastal bus going to Montego Bay, and somebody heard that I had a hog plum tree in the yard that I lived in country. So I said, sure. And the bus went to the house and everybody eat hog plum, then pick mango. Everybody pick all kind of fruits that was growing on the tree. And this was the house I grew up in. It was a very small house. As I said, had very humble beginnings. And I heard one of my colleagues whisper to another colleague to say, boy, if I did grow up in this house, I would not carry my friends here. And I said to the person, I said, no, I am proud. I am happy for this house that I grew up in. It was 5 kids in a 2-bedroom house, but guess what? It's the best memories and the best times of my life. And I'm not ashamed of growing up poor. Because let me ask you this question. If 2 people climbed to the top of the Blue Mountain and one had to walk sometime on his hands and his knees to get to the peak, and one was dropped 3/4 way up by a helicopter, who you give the most respect? I'm not ashamed. And I say to you, be proud of your school. Be proud of Cross Keys. And don't be afraid to shout it on top of the mountain for the world to know that I'm from Manchester and I love it and I'm proud. I just want to wrap up by saying, ladies and gentlemen, that when you're on the airplane flying, they always tell you, when the plane is about to take off, the air hostess giving all these instructions on what to do, right? You notice they always tell you that in case of an emergency, when the oxygen mask drop, you put on your mask first and then help the person with you. I want to say to you today, consider this wonderful school in that situation. Know that you have your oxygen mask on. Know that you have achieved whatever you have achieved. It's now time to turn to your school and give them the oxygen mask so that those children in this school now can survive and grow to help others. Let me end by leaving you with a word of benediction. Just to say that, remember, life is what you make it to be. Just live your life and let it be. That at the end of the day, you will lift your hand up high and say that I live my life and I did so full and free. Thank you very much.
So we do have some awards to be presented tonight, but I'm going to very quickly just acknowledge our sponsors: KMP Maintenance Services Limited, Manchester Cooperative Credit Union, New Horizon Group Home, Office of Utilities Regulation, Technosoft, Tip Friendly Society, and my friends here from the Southern Regional Health Authority. No, I didn't forget you. All right. And so, we do have some toasts. There are some tributes that are to be done tonight.
First of all, I must disappoint the Virtues clan. You're not the family with the most persons that attend Kraski's High. I figure more or less it is the Broomfield. My old man, he was a blind man, but he was a prolific batsman. He sent a total cricket team to Kraski's High. 11 of us. Yes, sir. With a little breakdown in communication with Miss Virtue, it's when I came here, I realized that I was asked to do a toast, which maybe I might deviate a little bit from what I was asked to do. But I'm just asking you to just listen and have some patience with me as I go along. The chair of this function, distinguished guests, friends, ladies, and gentlemen, good night. It is an honor and pleasure to be standing here to bring greetings from the association to Kraski's High. It is with some level of hope that I can look in the audience and see the various batches of past students being represented here tonight. The hope that will ignite Kraski's High to make the academic growth and the school are to make for the next 50 years. I regard the association as a good Samaritan and the Kraskis as our neighbor. Reverend Gardner, my good friend, you can help me out. Spiritually, a neighbor is supposed to be one in need. Am I correct? We all know that the subvention which is allocated to schools on a yearly basis are woefully inadequate. Thus, the need for past students association to be the good Samaritan for the growth of the various schools. If this association wasn't, then we would not have gathered here. Kraski's High, we want you to feel comfortable in accepting us as your ally and not what the association perceived to be in the past. Seeing some things being posted on social media, trying to make the association look bad in the past, has left some of us bitter in our heart. But at times, we know people will say and do naughty things to you in order to save their souls. Our aim and objective is to make this noble institution one of the more recognizable institutions academically, and one that parents and students want to sought after. 50 years in the life of an institution is a good platform to show growth. The big question that we must ask ourselves tonight. Over the past 50 years, are we satisfied with the growth that we have made? Kraski's High, we are of the opinion that the potential that the school has, much more can be achieved. I might make a few suggestions here. The methodology used in the teaching and learning process should be seriously looked at. We all know that it is the bottom of PEP pot that is fed to schools such as Kraski's High. The cohort of the students, especially the boys, that you received on a yearly basis, get lost in the education system. Most of them are hands-on learners. The way in which they are taught, the methodology needs to be looked at if we are to achieve the growth that we need. Mr. C.V. Walters performed miracles in those days that we attend Kraski's High. We are proud of the many doctors, the engineers, the top cops, the agriculturalists that were produced during those times with the limited resources that were there. We do hope and pray that Kraski's High can return to those glory days. We are not saying you have not achieved much, but we are asking that some more effort need to be put forward. And parents, please, just as you make the effort to go to the bishops and the cartridge at the Manchester High to attend those various functions that you always participate in, make it the effort to be at Kraski's and support your kids. They can achieve just as what your kids are achieving at those traditional high school. Please give your support. And Kraski's High, we are proud of the achievement that you have made so far. And please remember, we are in your corner as the association to support you. So you can rest assured that you have our backing. Please have a pleasant night. So, as I appeal to you, Kraski's High, for the next 50 years, we want to hope and pray that the school will make strides up the academic ladder by 50%. And as I depart, I make a toast to you to encourage and be in the position to continue to grow for the next 50 years. Kraski's High. Have a blessed day.
I can make mistakes, you know. I'm so sorry. Mr. Morgan will give the school's response.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. So I'm Paul Morgan, principal of Cross Keys High School. And I am thinking of stop attending functions now with Mr. Walters. Because you know, Mr. Walters, he really did a lot to, in terms of his impact on the institution. And it has been a lasting one. And so he is well celebrated. And so I have a big shoe to fill. But we're going to do what we can. So let me respond to the toast by Mr. Stanley Broomfield, who is an alumni from the class of 1980. I sincerely thank Mr. Broomfield for the kind words and sentiments expressed. I wish to thank the Alumni Association and everyone who is seated here this evening for your goodwill and support of the institution. In particular, those alumni who have made it their lifelong mission to support the institution. And I want you to applaud those alumni for me. And several of them are making their contribution to the institution. But permit me to make mention of just a few who are really doing a tremendous job in terms of their support for the institution. I want to make mention this evening of the president, Mr. Robert Green. Give it up for him for me, please. I also want to make mention of Mrs. Aldith Virtue Murray. Is she's somewhere around? Mrs. Carleen Morgan Harvey. I don't know if she's around. The members of the Myrie family. Yes, give it up for them. And there are several others. But these individuals who I have just mentioned would have distinguished themselves in their unflagging support for their alma mater, and I wish to applaud them on behalf of the institution, while I applaud all the others who continue to do so. As an institution, we acknowledge that we are faced with numerous challenges as we seek to rebrand and establish our presence on the educational landscape of Jamaica. However, we are not daunted by our challenges, as we have become resilient and innovative as we tackle our challenges. Our recent external examination results have indicated that our students are making steady progress academically. Thank you, Sir Caleb. We also boast a diverse curriculum that caters to the many and varied interests and needs of our student population. Our students continue to raise the profile of the institution through their participation in external competitions. Yes, let's have it. We have, I believe at this time, the most qualified staff ever in the history of the institution. Yes, ever in the history of the institution. And the former vice principal, Mr. Bembo, wants to challenge me on that. Several of our staff members are holders of second degrees. And let me make it clear to you, there are some right now who are pursuing doctoral studies right at Cross Keys High School there. I'm talking about staff members there. Challenge me on that one, no, Charles. As we celebrate 50 years of existence as an institution, I want to solicit the support of all our stakeholders. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information. The Board of Governors, and I'm seeing the Vice Chairman of the Board of Governors here, and I think there are some other board members in the audience. I want to solicit the support of parents, staff, students, past students, the community of Cross Keys, the business community, and all our well-wishers. We must unite to make Cross Keys High School the center of excellence. Cross Keys High School needs our support, all hands on deck, to ensure that our building and infrastructure are aesthetically appealing and that all our classrooms are conducive to learning. We owe it to the current student body and the students to unite in our quest to make Cross Keys High School the premier high school in rural Jamaica. I borrow the line from Martin Luther King as I close. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, not long from now, several of our stakeholders will be reaching out to me and other members of the team that I lead to indicate how they will come to the assistance of Cross Keys High School. I have a dream, not a nightmare now, you know. I have a dream that in the coming days, weeks, and months, a number of you will launch fundraising ventures like this or establish fundraising projects to see how you can help to strengthen the safety and security of students and staff as we conduct the business of education daily. I have a dream that in the near future, our school will become the school of choice for more of the parents and students who are living in the Cross Keys community. Ladies and gentlemen, while we celebrate, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. But guess what? As the leader of the team on the ground, I am ready to work. My staff is ready to work. We are committed to the task of making the institution a force to reckon with. Are you? Those who come behind us must find us faithful. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. You're looking so fantabulous. Everybody, gorgeous and fantabulous. Okay, I hope you'll raise your glasses with me as I make the toast this evening to the founding teachers of Cross Keys Secondary, then, now Cross Keys High. As a proud graduate of this incredible institution, it is in the honor of a lifetime I stand before you tonight as we celebrate a spectacular 50 years of Cross Keys High School. The proud evolution of our beloved Cross Keys Secondary, half-century of pride, community, and excellence. But as we looked around at the beautiful golden milestone, our eyes naturally turned to the front row, to the legends who built this very first brick of our legacy. Tonight, we are deeply blessed to have some of our founding teachers in this room, led by none other than our visionary first principal, Mr. C.V. Walters. And as they said, everywhere there's a successful man, there's also a successful woman. So Mrs. Barbara Walters as well, we thank you. Let's take a look back to day one, with Mr. Walters and the founding faculty walked into this campus 5 decades ago. They didn't inherit a legacy, they had to invent one. There were no championship banners in the auditorium, certainly no manual on how to handle us. But Mr. Walters and the team quickly made the rules. Who could forget our very first school dance? The music was pumping, the lights were low, And suddenly, Mr. Walters cut through the crowd like a referee, shouting his famous decree: dance 3 feet apart, 3 feet apart. Who remember that? Anybody? Yes, that was Mr. Walters. We might have kept our distance on the dance floor, but we stood shoulder to shoulder when it mattered most. Like the time when we hit the infamous food shortage, the kitchen served up ton cornmeal. Who remember that? Nobody? Okay. And as students, we staged a full-blown out rebellion and flat out refused to eat it. It was chaotic. It was passionate, but it showed the exact kind of fire, solid and spirit this faculty instilled in us. Through every food shortage, every strict dance rule, the missing supplies, and the trial and error of creating culture from scratch, our founding teachers never wavered. Through your late nights, your patience, and your infectious energy, you turned a silent building into a living, breathing home. We didn't just teach us academics. You didn't just teach us academics. You taught us how we were, how to stand up for ourselves and when it matters most, and to be a part of the Crosskeys family. Every tradition our students love today started as a spark in your classrooms 50 years ago. Because you poured your souls into us, thousands of alumni have gone out to change the world. We are your living legacy. To Principal C.D. Walters and our phenomenal founding teachers, thank you for your courage, your sacrifice, and for giving us a foundation that stood strong half a century. Cheers to 50 years of Crosskeys High. Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, honorable guest, and Mr. Walters, I almost said Honorable Caleb Walters. I went to Crosskeys under the leadership of Mr. Caleb Walters. Sorry, Mr. Morgan, we have to talk about the foundation. And we had a good one. And as a teacher, I've had my run-ins with Mr. Walters. I wasn't afraid of him. I respected him. I learned not to be afraid of anyone, just to respect them, and I gave him that respect. But I want to say kudos to the men and women who worked in the classroom. Mr. Walters could not do the job by himself. Caleb didn't have to be at school for school to go on because the teachers were always there. And Caleb had a black and white book. He would climb the stairs. He would go to that little corner, and he wasn't just looking at the students. He was taking pictures of the teachers. He was observing us. At lunchtime, just before the bell goes for class, he would walk out of his office. He would stand at the door. So when the bell went for class, we knew that we couldn't hang around in the classroom, in the staff room. We had to move. And that was the kind of leader we had. He was no nonsense, right? But he had the children's interests at heart. But I'd love for all the teachers who work tirelessly with the kids at Cross Keys during 1976 to 1990 during Caleb's period just to stand, because it wasn't easy. When a little rain fall, those kids would stay home and they would do their cash craft. They would be absent for weeks, but they showed up for exam. They showed up for exam, and God knows how we use needles to go through to make sure that they got grades. But what was amazing was that our students had to do secondary school exam, and they had what they call the continuing level, the functional and the non-functional. The non-functional were the kids at the bottom, but when they came to do the exam, they had to do the functional exam. And I just couldn't understand that. They did pre-functional for the 2 years, but the exam had to be functional. But they worked. Then when CXC and GC came around, they did CXC, they did GC, they did secondary school certificate. And most of our students here, like Dr. Grace Virtue can tell you, she mastered SSC, she went to college, and now look at the product. They never had tablets. They never had phones. They used the books we had, the library upstairs, and they prepared for today. Our kids with all the gadgets today, they don't have time for what the teachers are doing because they're looking at their tablets or their phones. And I'm not so sure the parents today are working as hard as the parents then. Because, listen to me, when you had to pay for exam, you're threatening your kids. You better pass that. If not, you're going to the supermarket to work. Because we couldn't pay for them again. We had more kids. Some parents had Mr. Broomfield. Mr. Broomfield, I taught maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Mr. Broomfield's siblings at Cross Keys. The Greens, I did like 6 of them too. So as one, parents never had money to pay for exams, and if you fail it, so children put their head to the book. Using lamplights, no electricity. Our kids today have everything at their hand and they're still not performing as they should. And I really don't believe that if kids fail, teachers fail. No. When I do my best and you waste your time, you fail, not me. And so the teachers at Cross Keys, I've had some who I taught, they went on to college and they came back and became my colleague. And that was a joy to see the kids you work with. They went to college and they came back and now become your colleague. I want to say to the present teachers, I know I've been to Cross Keys recently, and again, it's nothing like when Caleb was there. But Mr. Morgan, it's a tough road, but you're young and you're strong. You're a young, strong Black man, right? You work so that you will have a legacy that exceeds what Caleb has. But today, Mr. Walters, kudos. My fellow teachers, kudos. We did what we could with what we had. And we are very, very proud today of the students we have here. I salute you, Mr. Green. Honestly, because when I went to Cross Keys, they told me, don't trouble baby G's children. Yeah, that was the first warning I got. If you mess with Baby G's children, he will run the truck on you. Never had that. And I had about 6 of them. And I'm proud of you today, Chada. The virtues are brilliant children. I couldn't be more proud of them. Ardit and I are in constant communication, and we talk about Cross Keys and the zeal that they have to help this school. I'm going to say to our present principal, work with the past student association. Their goal is to help their alma mater. I am a proud Manchester High School girl, a proud Bethlehemite, and I'm even more prouder to be a past teacher of Cross Keys High School. Let's raise our glass as we celebrate and drink to long life at Cross Keys.
Thank you, Mrs. Calder. And the next toast will be done by the Reverend Dr. Paul Gardner, who will be raising a toast to our founding principal, Mr. Caleb Walters.
Good evening, friends. I stand here to raise a toast to C.V. Walters. As an association, we pause with profound gratitude, sir, to acknowledge you, a man whose steadfast leadership transformed Cross Keys and who has helped to shape our lives. Sir, history often remembers those who build monuments of stone. Yet the noblest monuments are fashioned in the hearts, in the minds, and the character of people. Your greatest achievement is not found in bricks and mortar, but in the thousands of lives forever enriched by your unwavering commitment to education and the potential within each person. Many of us were afraid of you, but today we stand in awe of you. Sir, for your visionary leadership and for the extraordinary legacy that continues to illuminate the lives of generations of Cross Keys alumni, the Cross Keys Alumni Association Limited is privileged to confer upon you its highest tribute, the Founder's Citation, presented with profound respect, enduring gratitude, and the affection of a grateful school community. Sir C.V. Walters, we salute you, sir, for your life's work, and may God continue to give you the health and strength, and may those who come after you recognize how blessed you are. So I ask you, friends, to lift your glass and raise a toast to Mr. C.V. Walters, our founding principal, a man of honor, a man who has impacted generations and generations to come. Sir, we salute you. And so, I'm going to invite Mr. Walters to come forward. I'm going to present this citation. A part of what I read is written on this citation. So I'm going to come over here.
Protocol observed. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, normally I don't hear too well these days, but occasionally it is remarkable how clearly I hear voices around me working. Just as I was getting ready to reply to the very complimentary toast graciously proposed by Reverend Paul Gardner, we call him Dr. Paul, I overheard a sotto voce remark by someone in the audience, pointing out how nervous and disoriented I appear to be. Well, Madam Chair, true words could not have been spoken. I am indeed very, very nervous. Madam Chair, the last time that I felt any such nervousness was when I played groom as a young man to my lifetime bride, Barbara Hope Bell, some 56 years, going on 57 years ago. But to be honest, nervousness and disorientation are not. I now stand up to do my duty as required of me here tonight. I am delighted, very delighted, and deeply touched by the kind and thoughtful and flattering toast so eloquently delivered by Dr. Paul. Thank you most sincerely, sir, for eulogizing me in such a very splendid manner here tonight. I can only hope that Mrs. Walters was listening and will soon come to realize and admit that her old man was really not such a very bad pick after all. There is a little something about him. Additionally, Madam Chair, I am gratified by the warm and cordial manner in which the audience received. Madam Chair, praise is pleasant and very comforting and uplifting, and when given is sometimes selfishly claimed, unfortunately leaving behind others without whom the acclaimed accolades might not have materialized. Tonight, I reject that selfish view, remembering that the good things achieved during my time as principal at Crosskeys Secondary came with a lot of help from a whole lot of people. Help came from the hardworking, creative, gifted, and talented, and visionary, and supportive classroom teachers with whom I had the privilege and pleasure of working during those many years. It came also wondrously from a wondrously liberated and progressive and facilitating boards of management in charge of the institution, thus giving us uninterrupted chance of playing out our vision for the institution. It came from the dedicated and efficient administrative and ancillary staff keeping things going at the institution. And it came from the hundreds of eager and hopeful students coming to our school, many of them hungry for knowledge and self-realization, many of them extremely gifted, talented, adaptive, and determined, ready to dream impossible dreams, ready to spread their wings and to conquer their worlds, despite the fact that their school was not of the preferred genre. And behind it all was a God fully in charge, doing his work quietly and effectively, just, faithful, transformative, and making good things happen. And to all of these facilitators, I am deeply indebted. So tonight, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, the accolades and the honor and the warm welcome and gestures lavished upon me are gratefully received, fully acknowledged, and rightly shared. Additionally, Mrs. Walters joins me in thanking the Cross Keys High Alumni Association as their special guests at this very iconic and splendid and memorable do here tonight. We are indeed delighted, and we assure them that we feel very special here tonight, and we deeply cherish the moment and all the fine gestures and sentiments involved. Our every good wish for their resounding success in all their endeavors, whether in respect of their own lives, personal lives, or in respect of their alma mater. Thank you again, Dr. Paul.
Let me just give you a little bit. Mrs. Virtue Murray is President and CEO of New Horizon Children's Place Incorporated. She takes care of many people, and she does an excellent job at it. Thank you. The next awardee is Mrs. Duchess Virtue for exceptional service and community impact. Mrs. Duchess Virtue serves as Assistant Treasurer of the Cross Keys High School Alumni Association. She has over 20 years in special education, and she has dedicated her career to supporting children and families. She's also a member of the Board of Governors. Thank you. The next awardee is Mr. Robert Green for commitment to alumni leadership. And as you know, Mr. Green is president of the Cross Keys High School Alumni Association. He holds a degree in aeronautical science and has over 20 years of experience as an aviation maintainer. Massacre your name. So when you get up here, I'm going to ask you to help me to pronounce it. Andre, you don't pronounce the Z? Okay, Mr. Andre Johnson, for commitment to community leadership. Mr. Johnson, Andres, okay, is an entrepreneur based in Canada and a proud graduate of Cross Keys High School. Jamaica Constabulary Force. Next awardee, the Golden Legacy Citation, Corporal Shavar Manning for Distinguished Public Service. I think Corporal Manning is class of 2016. Grew up in Plowden, Manchester, where his commitment to leadership and service emerged early. Served as deputy head boy, prefect, student council, vice president, and Youth Link ambassador. He now serves as a corporal of police in the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Elite K9 Division. Okay, the next awardee is the Cross Keys High School Alumni Association for the Outstanding Collective Service Award. I take it you will receive that, sir, President. Yes, I think that also deserves an applause. Thank you. Has been a giant tonight and throughout this week. Dr. Grace Virtue, the Education Impact Award, in recognition of your visionary leadership in establishing the 50 for 50 Scholarship Initiative, creating sustainable educational opportunities for deserving students. Just by way of information, conceived and led by Dr. Virtue, the initiative seeks to recognize academic achievement, leadership, service, perseverance, and promise among current students. Through the generosity of alumni, friends, and supporters, more than $1 million has been raised to support scholarships bearing the names of educators, alumni, and community leaders whose lives and contributions have helped to shape the Cross Keys story. And our final award goes to the founding teachers and staff, the Founders Legacy Award. So I think we can invite Mrs. Calder, could you please receive this award on behalf of the founding teachers and staff? This Founders Legacy Award is presented with profound gratitude to the founding teachers and staff of Cross Keys High School, whose vision, sacrifice, and dedication laid the foundation upon which 50 years of excellence have been built. Your pioneering service shaped not only an institution, but the lives of generations of students, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire. And we have some very special young people to recognize tonight. And these are the recipients of the 2026 Golden Legacy Scholarship Awardees. Could I just ask all of those awardees to step forward and to meet their sponsors?
Good afternoon. My name is Tonya Swebe, and I'm a proud recipient of the scholarship. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rajay Bipot, and I'm proud recipient of the scholarship.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Richards, a proud recipient of the scholarship.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Eva Morgan, and I'm a proud recipient of the Social Studies Scholarship.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Tamara Howell, and I am a proud recipient of the scholarship.
Good night, everyone. My name is Michelle Davis, and I'm a proud. I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous. Sorry. Oh, God.
And she is a proud recipient of the scholarship.
Good night, everyone. My name is Jardine Brooks, and I am a proud scholarship recipient.
Good night, everyone. My name is Kiana Duncan, and I am a proud recipient of the scholarship. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. My name is Beyonce Davy, and I'm a proud recipient of the scholarship.
Blocking someone who needs to leave urgently. So if that driver is in is in this room, please. Thank you.
Fantasy, take a trip with me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's get behind those clouds and be together. Let's roll and tumble down the stars. Let's sit up on the moon and love each other. Let's take a trip to Venus and to Mars. Let's hug and kiss and love and just be happy. Let's hold each other dear and be alone. Let's make the clouds up at the moon our pillow. And show the stars that you and I belong. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la. Let's greet the rising sun with smiling kisses. Let's run and jump and frolic all day long. And when at last the evening sun is setting, let's greet the coming night with our song. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Let's get behind those clouds and be together. Let's roll and tumble down the stars. Let's sit up on the moon and love each other. Let's take a trip to Venus and to Mars. Let's hug and kiss and love and just be happy. Let's hold each other dear and be alone. And when at last the morning is setting, let's just be happy and forevermore. Let's greet the rising sun with smiling kisses. Let's run and jump and frolic all day long. And when at last the evening sun is setting, let's greet the coming night with our song. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la. Fantasy, take a trip with me. La la, la la, la la.
No charge.
Ooh, yeah. For the 9 months I carried you, growing inside of me, no charge. For the nights I sat up with you, doctor, you prayed for you, no charge. For the time and the tears and the cost through the years, there's no charge. And when you add it all up, the real cost of my love is no charge. For the nights filled with gray and the worries ahead, there's no charge. For advice and the knowledge and the cost for your college, no charge. You see, for toys, school and clothes, and for wiping your nose, there's no charge. And when you add it all up, the real cost of my love is no cost. And for the nights filled with gray and the worries ahead, no charge. For advice and the knowledge and the cost for your college, no charge. And you see, for toys, school and clothes, and for wiping your nose, there's no charge. And when you add it all up, the real cost of my love is no charge. Thank you, everybody.
We have 2 additional awards that are going to be presented tonight. The Preddy family are awarding 2 outstanding students. So the first one is Genevieve Richards for outstanding student in culinary arts. Is it okay? And a member of the she reach up here for us. And a member of the Preddy family will be presenting this award. I'm sorry, and let me just read what it says. It is the Lynette Preddy Scholarship Award for Outstanding Student in Culinary Arts. And the second award is also the Lynette Preddy Award, Scholarship Award, And this one is for Outstanding Student in Clothing and Textile 2025-2026 academic year to Khaled Carter. Okay, so I gather Khaled is not here, but is his brother here? I heard his brother is here.